Well, good morning, baggers. Here we are at the wonderful Barston Lakes. It's the first Barston Masters qualifier. It's January's qualifier. I've drawn peg 17, which to me is absolutely cock on. There's going to be some fish there long, I think. Method long or hybrid, just see how it goes. Probably going to be chucking 60-70 metres, that's the plan anyway. I'm going to have a cage set up for some skimmers, but I don't think there are that many down there. Wingwan Martin, he's drawn peg 53, which he really fancies because he fancies a pole match and he's got deep water down there. So I'll see you down at the peg, and hopefully there's going to be some fish down there. Right, it's a couple of minutes before we kick off. I've drawn peg 17, good area, there's fish crashing out there, so hopefully we're going to get a few today. Fishing at 65 metres to start with, just so I've got room to go further than that. The wind's getting up a little bit. 4 metre horizon rod, 5,500 reel, £6 carp master mainline with a 12-pound shot leader. We'll kick off with a hybrid, just see how it goes. Got cage feeder in case that doesn't work, so we'll see how it goes. First chuck. Hey? Oh, Richie Hull? Is he next to Tux? What's Tux got? He's not caught? Has he had any signs? He's had what, 1 or 2 liners? Hour and a quarter in, that's 7 carp now for about £35. Couldn't wish for a better start. Just got to stick at it. I've gone out to 70 metres now. Lad 2 down's got 4 or 5. Got one of those as a skimmer. Just to keep plugging away at this, see how it goes. What? It's gone dead. There's some braid or line out there. Yeah, it just pulled into it. It's a couple of metres back from where I'm fishing. Locked up about 3 times now. There'll be a few lads in them 100 pegs that'll be wishing they were on that plane. Yeah. I think we're going to get wet, aren't we? Definitely on its way. I bet that wind gets up at the same time as well. That's what we need, some more of them in this last hour. Come on, baby. Clicked up to £91. Come on, we need a good last hour. Right, just got back from the first qualifier of the year for the Barston Masters. It's been an interesting event. It's been at one where the draw bag has really made a big difference, and obviously, you know, this time of year that's always going to be a huge factor on any venue, especially large open water venues like Barston. It's very different from last year. Last year's event, January, February, March time, I managed to qualify all 3 months there just by fishing a cage feeder for skimmers, catching 30 to 40 pound, all on the cage feeder, some lovely skimmers up to £3. But going into today's event, we knew that that sort of weight wasn't going to be enough, basically because it's so mild and the carp are still feeding. I've drawn an area that has had carp in it for several weeks now. They've been in that 8 to 10 peg range within the widest section of the bowl, as some people call it. I've drawn peg 17. I knew they were fishing the area. I've gone to the peg with a plan to fish long. I was going to start about 60 metres with a method, or a hybrid or that sort of feeder, just to hopefully catch some carp, especially early on, just to get a good start. I've had a cage feeder set up as well on a shorter range as a backup plan. Really, I don't think there are quite as many skimmers in that area anyway, and I really didn't want to have to use that today, but it was there if I needed it. And the matches started really well. I started at 60 metres on a hybrid feeder, just filled with some Baitex new prototype pellets. They're actually out in a few weeks' time. The big carp method feed pellets. They're really sticky. I've used a mixture of 2 and 3 mils. They're really sticky, so you don't have to add anything to them to use them on a method. So I've just used those today in a hybrid feeder to start off with, 60 metres, and I've had 4 fish in the first 6 casts, I think it was. Cracking start, and that obviously I've hoped that I wouldn't have to look back after that, and I've just plugged away at it. I've had a good first hour and a half, just catching steady, nothing too silly, mainly carp, about £4, £4 to £5, but then after an hour and a half, 2 hours, it's gone quiet. It's just died on me. And the lad 2 pegs to my left on 15 has had a really good spell. He's had 2 hours where he's caught fish steady. So going into about the last couple of hours, last hour and a half, I've been ticking over, but I've been chasing him. Word on the bank was, nobody was going to catch him. He was catching bigger fish. He's had at least 1 fish £15 and a couple over £10. But that kind of coincided when I had a run of F1s. So in a bid to kind of chase him, we were catching fish probably in twos and threes, and then they were drifting, and when I wasn't catching, he was, and vice versa. So we kind of think there was the same fish moving between our pegs, but I've increased my casting rate up to 3 and 4 minute casts, and I've put a slightly larger matrix method feeder on, which to increase the amount of bait I was putting in, because I thought if they do come back, or the next time that they came back, I wanted to keep them in the peg for as long as possible, and I think that's worked. I've had a really good last hour. I haven't caught loads of fish in the last hour, but they've definitely been a better stamp, than the carp and mirrors, and that's really bumped me up, boosted my weight. Like I say, I've been chasing him today for the last hour and a half or so, and it could have backfired me pushing the peg like I did, but thankfully it didn't, and it switched the peg on a little bit. As it turned out, the information on the bank wasn't quite accurate, so he's ended up with £90, and I've ended up winning the section and the match with £145, all on that one liner. Like I said, I've kicked off at 60 metres, but I've had to work my way out. I've gone out to 65 metres, and then I finished up at 70 metres. Just kind of followed them out a little bit. The wind did drop in the last hour. Whether that's why I've had to go further out or not, I don't know, or whether they just would have drifted out there anyway, but sometimes we don't really care what the reason is, as long as it works. The kit I've used a 4 metre horizon rod to hit that range today, with a feeder 500 reel, which is this one here. A lot of people have asked me about my setup today, because the wind did get bad at one stage, but the feeder reel that Matrix have on the market is this one, which I use a lot for ranges up to 16 centimeters. It's a brilliant reel, and it's exactly 1 meter per turn of the reel. So for days like today, it's been brilliant. I've used that with £6 mainline Carp Master, and I've used a shock leader of £12 Carp Master as well, and that setup's been spot on for today with a 4-ounce tip. It's really worked well. But more importantly, I've gone there today to qualify, so I've done that, won the section, I've qualified, which is brilliant. To win the match is an added bonus. So that means out of the 3 major finals I wanted to be in this year, I'm now already in 2 of them, and it's not in the end of January, so that's fantastic. I can look forward to some matches now, and just concentrate on enjoying the fishing as well. So yeah, so we're back in February for the next qualifier, even though I qualified, but it's a cracking, it'll be a sellout match, 80 pegger, and you know, and what a venue Barston is. So look forward to seeing you next month on a report on that match.